Greetings everyone and welcome back to Captain of Industry. Just as our recently upgraded ship heads off to explore areas new. Now, in the last episode, we managed actually to make quite a lot of progress in moving around various industries and setting up whole new ones, as well as expanding the ones that we had. Now, in this episode, we have fewer big projects in mind. The two main ones are moving and expanding out our construction part industry, probably over here somewhere, and adding in the next tier of construction parts, and additionally setting up fertilizer for our fields. But before we get to that, I actually want to address a couple of really good bits of advice that I received in the comments on ways that we can streamline the process of our factory and just make things a little bit better. Now, the obvious first one that we can use is we can tie in water directly. Now, I'm not going to immediately jump at that one. Instead, first I'm going to expand out our storage of water because, you know, a life's blood of the colony. Let's get this all the way around and then rotate again all the way back down. Now, this will be a lot of storage. In fact, could we fit two? We wouldn't be able to fit two, but that's fine. That's fine. We can live without quite that much storage. Though, that being said, we could still have backup water for industrial purposes such as power if we really want to. And I kind of think I would like that, actually. So, sure, we're going to set that up. Now, we are going to want a decent amount of water moving through, so we're going to set this up there and then this up over here as well, so that we can get both of these areas filled up. And of course, on this side, we want water to just be moved down the column so that we've got lots and lots of storage as we go. Now, hopefully, all of our vehicles should be able to reach this. Now, with this in mind, this is the collection point for water for the rest of the colony, but I want this one to tie in directly to our water supply over here, and that should remove the necessity of having a groundwater pump there. Further to that, it was questioned why I'm just burning light oil. Why aren't I converting that light oil? Cracking it down further. It's a concept that I'm sure anyone who's played Factorio is very, very familiar with. And in retrospect, I don't know why I hadn't thought to do that. I think I probably just got a bit overly focused on the crude oil pipeline and using one thing to produce another, and the idea that naphtha was absolutely critical for rubber. But as you can see, we've got stupid amounts of rubber available, even though we haven't actually produced any sulfur in quite some time due to the fact that we haven't yet started to find a use for the ammonia. Don't really want to dump it if we don't have to. But that question has left me wondering what we could do to improve this. And I think the best thing that we could do is to simply have two distillation stage 3s, turning a light oil into naphtha and fuel gas. Naphtha will be given a priority to be used in the rubber maker, but any naphtha that is left over will instead be stored here instead of the light oil, which will then be used to deliver over here. Okay, pickup location. Where are you trying to deliver to? Probably over here. You know what? Let me help you out. Let me do you a solid. Boom and boom, and we're gonna have to wait on that one, but that's just the way that one's gonna be. As you can see, we're also squaring off this area. We had a bit of a land spill over there due to mining the coal, but this is slowly, little by little, getting a bit better. Now, back onto the important topic of how we're going to move around. Oh, this massive spaghetti of a distillation area. Never mind. Apparently, we're going to be focusing on something else for a moment. Now, none of them have weapons equivalent to ours, so we were able to start engaging them for a fair old while before they got within range. But it does look like our ship's captain, oh wait, that's me, isn't being very sensible with the application of firepower. We are splitting our firepower, which is none too great. And also, we keep stopping just shy of destroying a cannon. It's like, why? I mean, in that case, why not just finish off destroying the boat, honestly? But, oh well. Ah, there we go. So, I was about to say, I wonder if they can be destroyed, but yeah, evidently they can. Fantastic. We found some more people, rubber, copper, and electronics. Hooray, indeed. Okay, well, with that, you can go home, and we don't need you out here any longer. Oh, we've got a bunch bunch of vehicles trying to get over here and collect some bits and bobs. Well, alright. Hopefully we can get this done. We will see how all of that goes. But I'm going to layer cut here as I try and puzzle out how best to build this area. I'm thinking having these two side by side and just kind of scooching this one up. Yes, I know, the spaghettification of our base, that's not the correct term, but it feels nice to say, is continuing apace. Where will it end? I hear you all cry. Where will it end? There we go. We have managed to sort out quite a lot of the little bits and bobs that I mentioned prior to the cut there. We have now got all of our water being exported into these two lanes. Here we can collect water and distribute it amongst the rest of the colony, and over here this is basically a massive backup pipeline for the water for our steam generators that will keep the colony in power. Down here we are now burning fuel gas, naphtha, and heavy oil. Over here we have actually ended up tidying this up. I thought it was going to be a spaghetti pipe nightmare, but in actual fact this has made it a little bit more clean. So we have the light oil and steam being delivered to these two distillation units, which are producing naphtha and the fuel gas. The fuel gas currently is only going into storage to be collected and sent over to the boilers. The naphtha, though, is being given priority to the rubber plant over here as soon as I actually tell it to, and then also to the fluid storage to be used up as availability allows. We've also moved back to having 2 excavators working on this ramp, with only 2 over here working on the iron. Though, on that note, I actually want to move things around a little bit in this direction. Let's go ahead and edit this area, shall we? Because I feel that there is a lot of room to be used over here. Let's start pulling away this mountain a little bit more. And to that end, let's go ahead and just dig this back as much as we can. We will remove this designation for the time being. We don't need it there for now. This way we keep the designations of where to drop off all of the various materials that we get, so that should be fine. And as you can see, this little ramp over here, it's actually being maintained relatively well, though. I'm going to be honest, the slag overspill there not helping us out too much. So let's take away slag. Only rock can be brought up here, because whereas the slag will spill down, the little rock will actually hold its shape a lot better. So our little excavator down here doesn't... it isn't basically trying to pull up the train tracks behind the train and laying them in front constantly and just going around in an endless circle. No. We'll actually start making a little bit of progress there. Right. I am hopeful that by using naphtha over here and fuel gas, we will take a real weight off the coal there and probably start accruing some heavy oil. We'll have to keep a close eye on how that one goes. But the next part of this puzzle is probably at this stage moving up our production of construction components. I imagine we're going to use a very similar design to the one that we used in the first series, and along those lines we're going to have a kind of input point along the side of a column of factories producing the various construction parts, and there will be one extra factory, kind of like a pyramid, if you like. So there might be 5 factories producing the basic tier construction part, then 4 producing the more advanced ones, then 3 producing the red ones, and so on and so forth. And each one creating a little bit of a stockpile while sending some of its product further down the chain to be made into more advanced construction parts. So give me just a moment to, at the very least, recreate what we have here so no functionality is lost, and then we'll start expanding the design. And as you can see, we are now tearing down the old facility, and that can mean only a single thing. We have managed to get the other facility up to at least a standard that it replaces that one, that we still have the storage to finish off. But we have one assembly electric running. The second one is most of the way there. In fact, the second one is now complete, and we have an additional one. I'll actually allow exports for the time being, just so that we can get things on the go, because at the very least we're going to need some of those to get these finished off. In fact, we can quick build those, it seems, which is very, very useful. But there we are. Everything is set up. Now we need to start thinking about the next tier. And to do that one, we're going to want to pretty much add an extra layer all the way down the line. Now, our excavators are actually doing a fairly good job so far at getting this out of the way, but let's try and focus their efforts a little bit more by doing that. This way, they'll just get rid of this just in time for us to start expanding out to it, I should imagine. We are going through iron relatively quickly, all things said and done. I'm currently no longer giving them extra food, because we've actually reached a point where we're not quite able to meet our food demands. In fact, I'm kind of tempted to go into food saver. Oh, how the mighty have fallen, eh? As soon as all of this is gone, though, we should be in a bit of a better position. Additionally, I also need to expand our concrete making operation. We are desperately low on that, so we're going to get rid of the sand storage there and expand things out a little bit. How are we doing for limestone, though? Oh, we're fine. We've got quite a ways to go with that before we even need to start worrying about it. I am going to get this one done a little bit faster. As you can see, our situation with vehicles is, well, in a word, really bloody bad. Right, let's get you set up there. I'm thinking we're probably going to want the bags of cement to be on the second layer. So let's go ahead and do something to that end. Let's just pop down a quick connection there and then delete this row. There we go. We are also going to bring water across here and down. I know it's ugly as sin. I deeply sympathize with your concerns. Truly I do. Nevertheless, this is the place that we find ourselves, so we're just going to have to make the best of it. There we go. If we can use a little bit of unity, of our dwindling unity, to get that done a little bit faster, all the better as well. Alright, let's have a watch of you get... Oh, actually, we kind of need to make sure that no one goes ahead and fixes that. That would have been rather dire. Right, let's get you across. There we are. Now, the reason why I wanted to pull this one down is because of the two, this is the most likely candidate to have it go up to a second level. Now, whether we're going to be able to bring that down again is another matter entirely. Can we connect that up? Incompatible type. Oh, am I using the wrong type of conveyor? I probably was using... Yes, I was using the wrong type of conveyor. My bad. Can we bring that down there? We can. Can I bring it down from here? We can. Okay, well, that's perfect then. We can absolutely make that work. That will give us a little bit faster production of the concrete slabs that we so desperately need. As far as everything else goes, we're probably going to be fine to get it all, and at this stage I can remove this boost because I've doubled the production, so that should be all well and good for us. Our trucks have got so many jobs to do, though. Oh, I am not making it easy on them, I'm going to be honest. In fact, I'm making it very, very hard. But oh well, there's not a lot we can do about it right now. Would this be a little bit too close? I'm going to say it probably is, but I'm also going to say that we can't really afford to worry about that right now. Instead, we'll just go ahead and we'll hook all of this up. Hopefully, it's not going to give me too hard of a time doing that. Again, remember to just kind of, instead of going straight down into a decline on a curve, you'll create a banked curve that you won't be able to connect to in the future. Go down the, move it one step out from the corner and then start the decline. Is my advice to you on how best to connect things. Though I have noticed in the dev notes that they're looking at making it so that you can more conveniently split an entire pipe. So, for example, or a belt. But say I wanted to just remove this tiny section here, they are looking at making it possible to just designate the start and end point for your deconstruction order, so you can just remove a section of pipe rather than having to trick the game into letting you do it. And I am so on board for that change. My goodness. Right, let's get you up and running as well. Turn off imports. We don't want that happening. I could quick deliver, but there's no point because I won't have everything else available to me at the time. But this is going to be a very, very nice enhancement there. I'm going to wait for this one to be finished before we add on the next layer. But while all that is going on, let's have a look around the rest of the colony. As you can see, I have popped in a vehicle ramp to make it easier for our vehicles to get through here and deliver coal. Mostly it's for the coal. I've also doubled up our storage for the various materials here. As you can see, we are stocking up a rather large amount of naphtha. I am very happy with this, as it pretty much has given us completely uninterrupted power supply for now. But that does make me worried a little bit that our production of these materials is moving forward apace. I am concerned that perhaps this is going to stall our production in some other way. Not something I'm looking forward to there, I'm going to be honest. We are actually getting a bit low on workers. Time for us to send our ship out again. Let's head on down here. We may be able to find a couple more workers out there as we explore the area. As you can see over here, we are making good progress in fleshing out the docks area here, which is something that we've been needing to do for quite some time. I am getting close to thinking that we're going to need to burn off the ammonia. It's something I really want to try and avoid if we can, because it is so damaging to the environment and, as a consequence, the health of our citizens. Not something I want to see done if we can at all avoid it. Please don't spill down the mountainside here. Let's have a watch of that. Sort of holding, yeah. Yeah, it looks like most of this was the result of slag spillage, which makes a lot of sense, honestly. Yeah, you can see the slag and the dirt in there as well. This actually should allow us to get this into a nice, sharp edge along there, which I'll find particularly pleasing on the eye. At this stage, perhaps we could remove the boosts on all of these. It is going to mean that we need a little bit more power, but that's not really a problem that we're struggling with. How are we doing for wood, though? We should have loads of it. We do. We do have... well, actually, that being said... Oh, I'm a little bit surprised. We have managed to work our way down through all that. So that's probably a good time for us to look into... trading a little bit. We're going to need to start getting our Unity back up in that case. Currently we're looking into Mixer 2 research, and then we've got a couple of other things beside, but I might actually stall research for a time. Let's have a quick look at trades that are available with the nearby towns. We can trade rubber for wood there. That is a completely acceptable trade, if I'm honest. We can also over here trade, well, we can trade wood for other things there, which isn't as good of a trade, though we can trade the stupid amount of iron that we've got for other things. Is there any trade that would take coal? We have a lot. Sadly, there is not. Well, that's just the way it's going to be. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to purchase a decent amount of wood there, just to keep our furniture going. We have set up... or rather, we can, once we've... in fact, we can start looking at this now, into wood alternatives. Might be worth doing sooner rather than later, actually. So I will add that one to the queue. That will be the first thing that we're going to need the Research Lab 3 for, though. So we're not going to be able to get there for a little while, but... that being said, it should be fine once we get there. Currently, I am prioritizing filling this up, which is fine. Any additional are now going to be spread over into the assembly electric. And I'm actually okay with this, as long as we've always got one more building than the next tier up. We should be able to overwhelm its capacity to use the materials. So giving a priority on making sure that we've always got building materials available to actually use for construction shouldn't cause any big issues in the logistics with the higher tier construction parts. Alright, well, as those are being torn down, we're making... we're gaining access to an increasing number of construction parts. We are actually running at 231 right now. So I guess it is time for us to start looking at setting up the next in the queue. So let's go ahead and do that then. Alright, once again, we want to copy this over. Keep that... Oh, okay. Fair enough. A little bit of an interruption, you know, for a little bit of battle. That's fine. Hopefully you find a few more peeps. We are gradually restoring the health of the colony, and this is why I'm really, really resistant to the idea of just burning off ammonia, as that is going to cause quite a lot of problem with our worker populations. Now, what did we manage to get there? 12 pops and a sawmill? Oh, now this is something new. Yes, start repairs. Now that is... What amazing timing is that? I had no idea there was going to be a sawmill out here. Okay. Do we have enough fuel to get to any of these locations? I don't think so. Do we have enough fuel to get there? No. Okay, then let's just go straight home. But that is fantastic news. Absolutely marvelous, in fact. Alright. That is going to be a huge, huge help. But whilst all of this is going, let's go ahead and bring this back out. We want to make sure it's on the right level, and once again, move forward by 1 tile. Now, it's getting a little bit more difficult for us to see what we're connecting to underground there. Oh, my bad. I actually connected that incorrectly anyway. Let's bring that back. We want to try and keep them looking uniform. I mean, that's just a me thing. You don't actually need to, but there we are. That'll look a little bit better. We'll set that one up for construction parts 2, and I am actually going to remove the boost over here. And with that, we will bring these out as well and connect them up. Okay, marvelous. Now that means that it is time for us to have a second component, and this one's going to need steel. So once again, I'm going to need an input point, and this one we'll do together just so you can see how I've been building it up. Now I like to keep them kind of the same distance moving down, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 there. So we will leave the 1 space for the conveyor itself, then line that up. 1, 2, 3, and 4. There we go. Plop. We are going to want to tell this one to bring in steel, allow import, do not allow export, and we want it to be kept full at all times. There we are, that should work nicely. And at this stage, we are going to want this to be on the lowest level. So this one's a very, very simple one when there's only 1 layer of it. Likewise, though, I want to make sure that this is prioritizing stockpiling these materials. I guess, well, actually, I mean, we've got all of these materials down here that I kind of need to store. I suppose for the time being, I will allow it, I guess. But only because otherwise these can't all be torn down. I suppose one thing we could do is we could allow this not to fill up, but it's a bit of a tricky one there, actually. Let's have a look here. That is producing the cement. I could probably offload the cement from this place and have that just brought down here, and that might actually be well worth my time there. We'll have a look into that. But I am really disliking this frankly obnoxious queue. Now remember, that is the lowest item in the queue. The item in the queue that has been lasting the longest. That is not the average for it. So it isn't quite as awful as it first appears, but it realistically is kind of bad. Right, we want to bring out a conveyor. Now, I've been having to be a little bit creative with the way that we've been doing this, and as a result, we've got some interesting conveyor shapes that we've got going on. Let's try and get that going. There we are, marvellous, and all the way down here, please and thank you, and across by 1 and down. Perfect. I like to try and keep things looking similar. Even if it's not possible to have it exactly the same on each one, you can create a bit of a theme. Now, obviously, By the time we get to the 4th tier, we're going to start running into some problems. But at that point, I would probably move this industry, because this one is going to be starting to get very large by the time we get down to the 4th one, because I'm probably going to want 2, maybe even 3 of these before we make the first of the next. So that's just the way that one's going to go. We will bring this out by 2. So from the end there, 1, 2. Let's drive. Actually, let's just make sure that does line up. Yes, it's 1, 2 across. So 1, 2, and then line it up over there. Perfect. We want the balancer in the same spot right there. And finally, connect everything up. There we go. And we're sorted. Okay, the constant fluctuations of the health of our citizens is making a bit of a problem for itself. I have been continuing to expand out our production facilities, but I've had to pause some of the buildings because we simply don't have enough workers to maintain them. So setting up the sawmill is an absolute no for now. So instead, I've decided to develop one of the local settlements. Our ship is almost back. We have discovered a new cargo ship. We're not going to be getting out to that one anytime soon, but we are going to need it probably to start bringing in deliveries from the sawmill. Now, as soon as that gets down here, we'll load our ship up with the construction parts to go and develop that settlement, so we can start getting migrants from the settlement over here. I feel that our settlement is definitely getting into a very comfortable position. On that note, we're going to turn off the growth boost there because it was drinking our Unity for quite some time, and we should now be able to go ahead and deliver cargo. Let's get out there and develop that settlement up properly. Now, while all of that is going down, we have, as you probably already noticed, started to accrue the necessary components. Now again, we're going to need an awful lot of workers for this, so this may be a bit of a difficult one to pull off, but let's go ahead and start laying down the groundwork, shall we? Let's pop the... sure, we'll have the production of fertilizer about here. Now, actually, let's have a look at how much this is gonna take from us. How much ammonia does it need? It needs 4 nitrogen. I believe that the air separator produces 8 of them at a time. So we would eventually be able to run 2 of these, but right now probably not something that we can easily manage. How much ammonia does this produce? It produces 4 ammonia every 20 seconds. And if we have a look back in there, in terms of fertilizer, that requires 4 ammonia every 20 seconds. So we wouldn't be able to produce enough ammonia to run it regardless. So that's fine for me for now then. Still, we should plan with the future in mind. So let's go ahead and can we... Oh, that's marvelous. We can actually flip them. Okay, so with that in mind, let's pop you... Let's just make sure all of the inputs are on the same side. They are. Let's pop you there. Now, I'm going to say this right away. I very much doubt that our colonists are going to be super happy about living next to the fertilizer plant, but, you know, they're just going to have to live with that one, I'm afraid. We are going to want water over here, and quite a lot of it, actually. We're going to need about as much as this pipeline is able to deliver in the medium term. Let's pop around to here, go up 1 level, and straight across, and here we should be able to join up. I'm going to allow this one to just be a direct connection, though perhaps we are going to want, yeah, actually, we're almost certainly going to want a little bit of a buffer for water here, just in case we end up producing, needing the fertilizer in kind of fits and starts. So let's go ahead and place this down there instead. That'll do perfectly. That way we can then connect up and connect up over on this side as well, and that should all work okay. We'll get rid of that one there. Okay, let's allow people to continue going. The ship has delivered cargo to the settlement. Marvelous. They are almost done. How about you go ahead and explore for now then, while you're out that way anyway, and we can start bringing in some peeps from over yonder as and when is possible for us to do so. I would like the ammonia to be delivered around here. Let's get that in a separate tank as well. Something about there should do nicely. World map settlement has been upgraded. Can we get some pops? We can get 10 pops for 2.5. Sure. Let's go ahead and do that. Now, each one of these is going to require 4 ammonia per 20 seconds, so a single pipe will be more than good enough. In fact, that was probably a bit silly of me for using a double pipe to deliver the water over here, but oh well, it's done now, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. We can bring this ammonia up and across. It has to go up a little bit there, just to get over that little hump there, but that should be fine. Mixer is complete, and we're moving on to Research Lab 3. However, I think we're actually going to pause that, as that consumes an awful lot of Unity. Is there anything else that we can pull back on? Fuel Saver is probably one that we no longer need, so let's turn off Fuel Saver. We most likely have all of the materials that we're going to need. I'm going to pause the construction of this one, because if we make 2 of them, it's going to take us an awful long time to get all the construction parts together. That would be quite the problem for us. Additionally then, we want, let's have a look at the air separator. This building, where are we going to build this? Kind of running out of room back here, I'm going to be honest. We could sneak this in down here if we must. And sure, let's go ahead and do that. We're going to just get rid of... We're just going to basically off-gas the oxygen straight away. Oh, no, we're not. We're going to watch a fight. Very well. You know, little bit of combat with our construction. Keeps things spicy. And there we go. A sulfur mine? Okay, so there's a lot more materials out on the map now. This is amazing. I had no idea to expect this. I think this is fantastic. So you're not as restricted to the materials that you have easy access to in your own settlement. That does have quite far-reaching implications for the difficulty curve. There we are, though of course, you know, you're going to need the infrastructure of cargo ships and the likes to be able to manage that, but still, I think that's amazing. Right, can we get around this building? Oh, we can. That is absolutely marvellous, I must say. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, let's bring that down there, and then over here as well. And that is going to give us all of the nitrogen we're going to need to get the fertilizer up and running. Now, with that done, can we store fertilizer? I can't easily see anymore. Let's see, if I got anything that's empty. This one's empty. Can you store fertilizer? You can store fertilizer. You can store nitrogen too if you really want to. Okay, where are you headed to, and why can't you get there? You are trying to deliver. Don't do that. Don't do that. Focus on other things for now. This one, for example, will be for ammonia, and you are permitted to import over here for the time being, just to get that stuff out of your tankers, I guess. Though I suppose I could just make that turned off as well. We'll need to make another ramp, sadly, but it will be worth it, I feel. That ramp will have to exist here, I would say. Oh, this is going to be a curious one. Actually, you know what? On second thoughts, we don't need to do that. I am always overthinking, or rather overusing ramps. I can just bring a nice tall pipeline up and around the back of the settlement, and that will take care of all of that for us. Let's bring it about to here, and then hook that up there. There we go. It's going to take them a little while to get all of that sorted, but it'll be well worth doing. This one is almost complete. Perfect. Once again, though, we're going to want a storage area for all of the fertilizer. I'm going to say we'll pop that one just down. Oh, man. Living in these houses. This was the good part of the colony. You just had the smell of fresh produce. Now you're going to have the smell of an entirely different kind of fresh produce. It's going to be awful. You'll get used to it, though. Some of you might even say that you like it. Right, let's go ahead and... Well, we aren't going to need that pipe anymore. Let's hook all of this up. There we are. And since we're only going to be running 2 of them back here, we may as well just have this pipe connect up. Oh, well, actually, let's make it look a little nicer. Like that. That should be fine. Now, heading out in this direction, I do feel that this pipe is going to need to be a level 2 pipe. And we'll need to run the entire length of this field. But this is going to double our production of food. Straight up double it. You really can't understate how important that is going to be. As we're going to be able to turn off the keeping the fields fallow. That will no longer be required. Have I risen that too much? No, that looks alright. There we are. And then this one as well. And at that point, the food situation will pretty much be sorted no matter how many people we have here. We can't pick things... Oh, where are you trying to take all of this? That is awful. Stop doing that. It's being delivered automagically. Right, let's prioritize getting that up and running. And these as well, though honestly, I should imagine we're going to be able to get those built rather sharpish. Let's have a look down here. We now have enough workers that I can unpause this building. There we are. And allow things to start moving back through. Though we're out of wood. Yikes. Okay, do we have enough unity? We do have enough unity. Okay, so trade with the village once again. Hello, villagers. I would like to purchase... Oh, wrong village. I would like to purchase wood in exchange for rubber. There you go. A rather poor exchange, if I'm perfectly honest. Though we are getting little drips and drabs of sulfur here and there right now. And as soon as this is properly set up, then that is going to be even better. So give me a few moments to get this system up and running, and I will bring you back once the fertilizer starts to flow. And there we go. We have got our fertilizer plant up and indeed running. And I've also taken away the ammonia storage down here because honestly it was completely surplus to demand. There was never going to be a time where we just wanted to have ammonia stored there. That might come and bite me in the bum later on, but for the time being we're just sending all of the ammonia down here and then processing it as quickly as we can into fertilizer, which is then being whisked off to the fields. The fields are all now set up to only use a single growth stage, and it will always be potatoes, and the fertilizer will keep the fertility at maximum the whole time. Now that is going to open up new options for us in regards to food, because of course we can use anaerobic digesters to turn any extra food we have into some extra fuel gas and dirt, which will be quite useful later down the line. But for the time being, these 3 farms running full bore will almost certainly be able to handle the needs of our growing settlement, probably for the quite foreseeable future. Now, with that in mind, we could now look to increase our consumption of food if we really wanted to. I think I'm going to hold off on that one just for now, and we're just going to kind of sit on what we've got. But we definitely need to start thinking about wood. Wood is going to be a continual problem for us. We're going to need to either upgrade our labs so that we are able to research the wood alternative and then start using steel for that, or alternatively we could just go ahead and try and get the lumberyard up and running. And since we have found ourselves a second cargo port, I think that might actually be where we're going to go for. We've got another fight, obviously. We've been slowly exploring more and more of the map. We've found odds and sods here and there, but nothing other than the sulfur mine, or rather nothing particularly noteworthy since the sulfur mine. But there we go. It really would be great if you could just focus on the ships, though. I do like that you stopped firing on this one once you've taken out its gun. That was actually pretty cool. And we found another damaged cargo ship. Okay, so both the sulfur mine and one of the damaged cargo ships are now available to us. Okay, well, let's get the repairs ongoing. I do believe we've got the construction parts down here should we want to get the sawmill up and running. I'm going to say let's get the damaged cargo ship sorted first before we start thinking about that one. Obviously, not having to trade off our rubber constantly in order to purchase more and more wood would be a fantastic place to be. But for the time being, I guess it isn't terribly bad, since we are actually generating a decent amount of sulfur along with the ammonia. We can, for the time being then... yeah, sure. Well, we're going to unpause the research lab and actually start getting that up and running as well. Honestly, I don't think we're going to need that second fertilizer plant for quite some time. We are at 23% storage on the fertilizer there, 25% here, 69% here. We may see that fluctuate. Obviously, it applies the fertilizer once the fertility of the ground drops below 100%, and then it doesn't need to apply anymore for quite some time. We should be okay with this for now, I would imagine, but we do have the option of expanding into that should we need to. We've only got 12 of the construction part 3s right now, because I have gone back now to prioritizing the stockpiling of construction part 2s. For the time being, I want to start building that back up. Now, Research Lab 3, we haven't even upgraded to Research... Oh, actually, no, I tell a lie. This is Research Lab 2. It's just it's the model from Research Lab 1 in the base game. But I think there is a lot of work done in this episode. We've achieved the 2 primary goals we had, namely the expansion and relocation of our construction part industry, and of course the completion of the final part of the chain for getting fertilizer into those fields. That was a very, very important one, because it had basically forestalled our production of rubber, our production of copper as well, more worryingly, because we have switched over copper production to needing acid, and we weren't producing any more acid, which was a constant issue. I am going to stop the work here for the oil pump there, and we're just going to run off one oil pump for the time being. I might even completely decommission these two. I don't think we're ever going to go back to needing them at this point, so we may as well get rid of them. The final thing I wanted to cover, though, in the comments on the last episode, there was some discussion on the way that power plants worked, and that I should just have one power plant not using the auto balance, because it caused the power plants to ramp down, ramp up, so on and so forth. And there was concern that the load was being uselessly wasted. Basically, I had 2 power plants, both of them running at half output. That is actually easier solved without becoming inefficient, by just setting one power plant onto full bore. Because if there's ever a production backlog in the rest of your factory, eventually things will stop needing power, and you'll just be dumping power into the void. You can't save it if you're not using it. So a much better way of doing this is with the production priorities. Right now, I've set all of the generators attached to this power, I guess power trunk or drive axle, up to a priority 1. So if there is power needed, these will be priority to use that. And all of these have been set to priority 2. So they only turn on as needed. If not, though, this is the one that runs all the time. That does mean that this power plant will ramp up every now and then just to keep the flywheel running. And so there's a little bit of lost efficiency there. But generally speaking, this is a very efficient system. And I do prefer just having all these on auto balance. I feel that it's a much better way of managing it. Now, how are we doing for coal at the moment? Honestly, we've got so much coal over here. I think it's finally time to do something drastic, and to take away one of the excavators and relocate it. I would still like to get up here, eventually. It is probably a thing that is going to take an inordinate amount of time. Additionally, actually, you know what? Instead of doing that, we're going to dial back on that decision. There we go. And instead, I'm going to have this over here, and I'm going to move one of the vehicles down here as well. We've got quite a lot of stuff that I need to do over here, actually. We've got a lot of these little mountain or rather like outcroppings of rock that I want to shave back and bring to a nice even area. We also want to drive this mountainside back. That's a very long-term project, though. We're not going to be getting to that in anything even approximate to the short term. Still, we need to clear this area out because eventually we're going to be moving the docks over here, and especially if we're going to be wanting to add a sawmill to this lineup of our cargo ships. So that's definitely something that we need to look into. Where's our ship right now? Let's bring our ship home. I should have told you to do that earlier, but that I think is going to be where we wrap up today's episode. We are little by little moving all of the industrial production from our initial landing up much further deeper into the valley, which is hopefully something nice for our residents. Of course, you know, there's the only things we're leaving here, less noisy, more stinky, really. We're leaving the crude oil refinement and the fertilizer plants right next to them. It will get better eventually, I promise you. We might even relocate the citizenry up onto this plateau, or maybe even move the city wholesale up onto the very highest point and then just keep all of the industry down here. That is absolutely an option later down the line. Now, of course, in regards to research, we're going to be finishing off the research lab. I'm actually going to remove this from the queue, and we're going to possibly go for wood alternatives. No, we're not going to be. We're going to go for vehicle management 2. We desperately need this. Oh my lord. Also, naphtha reforming might be a bit of an interesting one. I don't think we're really going to be going for that one, though. I'm quite happy to burn off the naphtha right now, but we will see how that one goes in the coming episodes. I really do hope you have enjoyed this one, though. We have achieved all of our goals, and it's always a nice place to wrap up there without any outstanding projects that were beginning this episode, at the very least. We still have plenty of projects to do, but none of them started just yet. But as always, thank you ever so much for joining me. It was a pleasure. If you do have any feedback, then don't be shy about leaving it down in the comments below, and I will catch you next time. But until then, do take care, everyone.